Are these the products of the future? Alright, so if you missed it, Apple just had their big awe-dropping event. And wow, they dropped a lot. First of all, we got the iPhone 17, which feels like the iPhone 16 Pro finally bumped down to the base model. Then there's the iPhone 17 Pro, which got one of the biggest redesigns ever and a brand new cooling system. Then there's the AirPods Pro 3, which got live translation and 2 times better active noise cancellation. And of course, the phone of the future, the iPhone Air, an insanely thin device that looks like the phone of tomorrow but comes with some real big problems of today. So today I want to break down 2 of the biggest products from the event. The AirPods Pro 3, which might seem like a small upgrade on the outside, but there's actually a lot more packed in, and Apple's newest device, the phone of the future, the iPhone Air, where Apple clearly chose design over usability. But is it usable? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's get into it. Starting with the AirPods Pro 3, the product I was looking forward to the most out of this entire event. At the start, I didn't really feel like there was too much changes while watching the event. It seemed like it was a small upgrade. But after seeing people actually test these out, I've got way more to say. But because of that, if you don't want to hear me talk about AirPods for a little bit, there's chapters in the video, so just skip to the part where it says iPhone Air. But back to the video. The feature you probably heard the most about is live translation. Real-time translation inside your earbuds. What does that actually mean though? Well, let's say you're traveling to a different country, you don't speak their language, and you need to order food. Well, your earbuds will translate for you in a Siri-style voice while using noise cancellation to block out their actual voice. But what happens when you need to reply? Well, if the person you're talking to has a pair of AirPods with the Ace 2 chip or newer, it will talk to each other and translate in real time. If you don't, you can just grab your phone and it will type out what you're saying to the other person so they can read it. And no, this isn't just exclusive to the new AirPods. Any newish AirPods also should get this update, like the AirPods Pro 2. Compared to competition, this isn't as great, with voices not being as wide of range, and also the time that it takes to translate is just longer. Where things get more interesting though is design. On the outside of things you can't really notice much other than a bigger case. But inside is where Apple did make a few tweaks. Starting with the vents. The vents are a little bit bigger inside your earbuds, which leads to better audio quality. People are saying the bass is much improved, which I like to see, but others, in nice terms, have said these are the worst sounding earbuds possible because of that. Not actually, but the famous Linus Tech Tip said the audio has changed so much that to him it just doesn't sound good anymore and there's just too much bass. Others have said sound is, if not good, but better than last generation. Audio is really just something you have to decide. Moving on, volume is a little bit better, but I'd still not recommend listening to these earbuds at full volume for long periods of time like so many people do, unless you don't want to be able to hear it later in life. There's also brand new ear tips. If you compare the AirPods Pro 2 to the AirPods Pro 3, you'll be able to see the difference. It's a mixture of silicone and foam, which means they fit in more people's ears, fit better in your ears, and feel more comfortable. The foam basically means they adjust while inside your ears so they don't slip out as easily. And no, there is not a display on the case like some people predicted, but there are some changes. I'll let you guys figure those out in the comments section down below. On the bright side of things, there's now a calorie and heart tracker directly in the earbuds. Would I trust the calorie tracker? Honestly, no. It's probably inaccurate. But the heart tracker seems solid and useful if you don't already own an Apple Watch. If you do, it's kind of pointless. But the biggest upgrade is noise cancellation. Apple claims it's 2 times better than their previous model, and according to them, the best noise cancellation on any earbud. Bold claim, like Apple always does, slightly bending the truth to hype people up. But from early tests, it's incredible, and they actually
told the truth, with people saying at half volume you can be at work or be somewhere busy and it feels like you're back in your room with no one else around you. And combine that with 8 hours of battery life instead of 6 hours, that's a legit step up. So overall, if you're into earbuds, these will probably be your new favorite. If you've never been into earbuds, these might change your mind. And if you're a headphone person, you probably will still prefer your headphones, but these will shock you. The only reason I'm not buying them is because of their $229 US price tag and the fact that I already own some amazing earbuds, which I'll be reviewing shortly. But let's move on to the reason most of you are probably here. The phone of the future, the iPhone Air. I want you to imagine the phone of the future. It might be a foldable one. It might be one with a big screen on it. Or it might be Apple's thinnest phone yet. Introducing the iPhone Air. On paper, this thing will look like it came straight out of the future. It's got a super minimal design, what Apple calls incredible battery life, which we'll get to in a minute, and a Pro level chip. Honestly, it sounds like one of the best iPhones yet, or at least one to really consider. But once you look at it in more detail, those wonders start to turn into nightmares. Let's start with the design. With any phone nowadays, they either go one of two ways. Form over function or function over form. I want you to guess what Apple chose. If you guessed form, you're right. This is kind of crazy. The iPhone Air is just 5.6 millimeters thick. Insanely thin. And yeah, at first glance, it's amazing. It's lighter, fits better in the hand, and just look at the design. It's incredible. It's also titanium, so you don't have to worry about it snapping in half. It also has 3 different chips inside of it, making it the most stacked, or what Apple likes to call, sustainable iPhone ever. Let's start with the A19 Pro chip. The A19 Pro chip has 6 CPU cores and 5 GPU cores with faster AI performance. Translation, you don't need to worry about your phone being slow, it will be crazy fast and future-proof to any AI features. You also get the N1 chip. The N1 chip leads to better Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connections, while the C1X chip has better 5G support, making those text messages and calls a lot smoother. Basically, these chips are here to make this phone run like a flagship even though it's thin. At least on paper. Now we have to talk about the elephant in the room, the cameras. Apple brought over the iPhone 17 Pro Plateau system, which does not give you better cameras, but preserves space in the phone for internal parts, leading to better battery life. But honestly, how are the cameras? Calling them great would be a stretch. It only has one, a 48 megapixel Fusion main camera. It does take sharp images, and thanks to Apple's Fusion camera system, it does allow it to have a 2x digital zoom, but there's a reason why the iPhone Pros don't have only one camera. Video is fine at 4K 60 FPS with more noise, which basically means it won't look as clean as the iPhone 17. It does share some features with the iPhone 17 though, like center stage camera, which basically means you can shoot landscape photos from the front camera without rotating your phone, which is neat. It also allows you to shoot from the front and back camera at the same time. So, solid camera system, but definitely not pro level. And here's where it all starts to fall apart. The design is thin, which means there's barely any room for a battery. Add in a pro level chip, yeah, this thing's gonna overheat. Now, sure, the iPhone 17 Pro has an aluminum frame which helps with the heating issues, but the Air is still titanium, which means it doesn't dissipate heat the same way. Recipe for disaster. Battery life also suffers, with the worst battery in an iPhone since the iPhone 11, which is a huge problem for anyone that uses their phone often. Early reviewers are saying they're only getting around 4 hours of actual use. And imagine what that's going to look like in a few years once the battery starts degrading. Now, sure, Apple does sell a MagSafe accessory specifically for this phone, and it was made for this phone, but doesn't that kind of defeat the whole point of a thin phone? And it's also $100 more. But to make it sting even more, The regular iPhone 17 costs $799, but the iPhone Air costs $999, which means you're paying for a phone with more problems. Would I recommend buying it? No, probably not. Is it a cool phone that gives you that wow factor? Absolutely, but owning one of these phones is less about practical use and more about the experience. One more thing though. Notice Apple didn't call it the iPhone 17 Air. They just called it the iPhone Air. Some people think it's because Apple isn't planning on updating it every year. Others think it's just branding. Honestly, I think it's kind of both because in the grand scheme of things, this whole Air feels like a test project for the upcoming iPhone foldables whenever they're dropped, and I think this phone was just testing two things. One, if they can pull off a thin phone, and two, if there's even a market for it. Either way, I think it's kind of funny because Apple just had a whole event about simplifying their lineup, and then they got complicated it again. For me, the three biggest downsides are the cameras, the possible overheating issues, and the battery. Now, as tempting as it is to go with the phone of the future, it's just not realistic. Right now, I'm recording this off of the iPhone XR, and yeah, it looks good after some color grading, but if I'm buying a phone, I'd rather have a phone that's better at being better, not just better at being thin. And about those overheating issues. Sure, early reviewers have said there's not any problem with it, but trust me, it's coming. Now, on the good side, the three biggest wins for me are durability. Almost no one has been able to break this phone. Now, sure, the famous Jerry rig everything did some damage, but he has yet to manage to bend the phone in half, like some others. Number 2 is processing power. Now, sure, the iPhone 17 Pro technically has the same, if not better, of a chip, but the fact is this phone is cheaper and thinner. So that's impressive. And number 3, the only reason I would pretty much buy the phone, the design. It looks like the phone of the future, and that's pretty dang cool. So who is this phone actually for? This phone is for someone who wants the durability and power of a Pro without paying for all the extra Pro features like cameras or battery. This phone is also for someone who just wants a phone that not everyone else has, even if that means taking on some real disadvantages like weak battery or overheating issues. If you haven't upgraded your phone in years, yeah, this will feel like an upgrade, but honestly, I wouldn't do it because the iPhone 17 and 17 Pro are just so much more of an upgrade than this phone will ever be. Personally, I'm not upgrading. It's tempting, but honestly, for what I do where battery and cameras matter a lot, it's just not worth it. Yeah, the iPhone Air is definitely Apple's boldest, thinnest, and riskiest iPhone yet. Cool to look at, fun to own, but definitely not for everyone. I'm curious though, what this means for the future of the iPhone. Because I can see a world where every phone eventually looks like this, just without the current downsides, or maybe even folds. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, I recommend dropping a like. If you want to see the rest of my thoughts and opinions on the Apple event, stay tuned. And as always, thanks for watching it to the end of the video. This channel wouldn't be what it is today without your support, so thank you. And as always, see you in the next tech video.